harp friends, it's Elizabeth. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play another one of my original compositions called Sandcastles. This song is in 3/4 time, just like the exercise that we just practiced. Remember, that means there will only be 3 beats in each measure. You'll notice that we also have 1/8 notes that we are using in the song. As always, we should preview the music to look for these sorts of things before we start playing. One of the things that you'll notice is that the first phrase lasts 2 whole lines, or half of the song. We are going to stay connected or anchored to the harp for 2 entire lines of music. That means you need to pay really close attention every time you get down to where there's just 1 finger left on the strings. It's time to place the next bracket. Don't play that last finger until you get your next placing ready to go. Remember, the quarter notes get 1 whole beat. The 1/8 notes, which are connected by the bar, get half a beat each. So 2 of them equals 1 beat. The way we'll count this is 1 and 2 and then we have to place our thumb back up on the G before we play the D. 3 and I'm not placing all 4 fingers, I'm placing just fingers 2 and 3 because there's not going to be a 4th finger in this next bracket. These notes are all quarter notes. 1 and 2 and. Now I'm going to place my next bracket, which is my thumb up on the F, 3 and then my next bracket is going to use all of my fingers again. It's the same pattern as measure 1, we've just moved down 1 note. 1 and 2 and place 3 and this time I am going to put back all of my fingers. Now this is something you have to be very careful about. This bracket extends to the end of the line and connects to the next line over. You'll notice there is no ending hook on this bracket because it keeps going on to the next line. It's really easy to miss that and forget to place that 4th finger. So if you find that you keep forgetting to place the 4th finger, one thing you can do is with your pencil write in a number 4 at the end of that bracket. Even though you don't have the C note there, by seeing the 4, it can remind you, oh yeah, I need to also place my 4th finger because I'm going down below the 3rd. I'm going all the way to the 4th finger on the C. Let's play this part. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now I'm going to place those same fingers back on the same strings, but notice the 4th finger is going to play 2 times. So after I play it, I have to put it back on the same string. 1 and 2 and 3 and. One more thing that you need to notice about this. When you play a same string twice in a row, before you can play it the second time, you have to put your finger back on it. To put your finger back on that string means to stop it from ringing. So you don't want to place it back too early. If I do that, I'm cutting it off. And that's not the sound that I want to have in this. So I'm going to play 1 and my finger's coming out, and I'm going to wait till kind of the last second to actually put it on the string and play it, so I'm not left with a lot of dead sound. 1 and 2. I have a good amount of time there where there's no string ringing. So if I wait, I can eliminate that. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Sounds much, much better that way. Let's keep going. Our next notes are going to be fingers 2 and 3, no 4. 1 and 2 and. Now I have to place my thumb onto that E. Notice how my second finger is staying tucked in, just like I do when I'm doing 4 to 1. 3 to 1 is going to be the same thing. Play my 3rd finger, 3 and I'm going to place 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and I have to place my thumb on the D, 3 and 1 and 2 and there is our quarter note rest. Means nothing happens in that third beat. It's not exactly silent because the last note I played is still ringing, but you're not going to play anything new there. Just keep counting so that you don't lose your rhythm. All right, we are on measure 9 and we are back to playing just like we did at the beginning. This entire third line is exactly the same as the first line. So if you can play line 1, you can play line 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and remember to place all of them including the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and I'm going back up. 1 and 2 and 3 and just 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and thumb's going to go on the E, and note that I am placing it very high. You don't want to place your thumb down here where you have nowhere to go. You need to have room for your third finger to swing in, or if your thumb's playing first, it needs to have room to swing down. If you're down here, there's nowhere for it to go. So always, when you're placing thumb and a second finger, or thumb and a third finger, or thumb and fourth finger, you must have a lot of vertical distance between them. Thumbs, remember, point up, fingers point down, so they all have room to swing. So here we're going third finger to thumb, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and there is no bracket to connect this to our next note, so I'm actually bringing my third finger all the way in off the harp. Second finger is going to come out and play that final C. You could play both with the third finger, or you could play third finger and thumb. There really are multiple options here, but I recommend using your second finger because I think that's the most comfortable and the most natural one to do there. As you progress in the harp, you may decide that when you have these repeated ending notes that there's a certain fingering that's most comfortable for you, but until you get to that point to be able to make that decision, use the fingering that I have recommended. As always, when you get to the end of the song, be sure to use both hands to muffle to stop the strings. So let's review. In this song, we have practiced playing that 3/4 time, which means that we only have 3 beats in each measure. We're using the 8th notes, so even if I'm playing a quarter note, I'm going to out loud count the 1 and 2 and. That way I don't get confused or lose my place when I reach those 8th notes. I have made allowance for them even if I'm playing a quarter note or even a half note. We also practiced keeping our second and third finger tucked in when the thumb and the fourth finger are having a bracket where it's just the 2 of them. Same thing if it's just fingers 1 and 3, the second finger stays tucked in. And we talked about the distance, that you must have the thumb up and the second, third, or fourth finger nice and low in order to make that connection without the fingers running into each other, so that every note can be that clear, consistent, beautiful tone that we're going for. Now let's go practice.